This time on Ask Rad Rat, we talk about our biggest regrets in skateboarding and potentially quitting. Welcome back to Ask Rad Rat, a series where I answer your questions about skateboarding. You can go to radratvideo.com and submit your own. It'll go into a special inbox. Last week, I did them as shorts. I had the main video and I chopped them up as shorts because I'm always getting pop-ups like, hey, you should try shorts on your channel. They're so good for your channel. So I put them up. I chopped it all up. I put them up as shorts. And last night, it's like, hey, see how much good the shorts have done for your channel. I open it up and it brings me to this screen. I don't know if I'll be able to show it to you, but it says subscribers, -65. So doing it has lost me 65 subscribers. I guess you guys don't like that. So whatever, we're just going to stick to this this format for now. But the questions today, they all come from F33B33. Whoever that is, they sent me 20 different questions. I picked out a handful for today and a handful for next week. First question is, what are some must-have exhibits for a skateboarding museum, and what type of stuff should be sold in the gift shop? So there was a skateboarding exhibit in the museum by me, and I didn't happen to get there on time. It was not there all that long, but it was like pictures of stuff, and then there would be like, you know, here's the board used by this skater in this event. Here's like the jersey worn by this guy in 1975 when he was doing this. There was stuff like that, which was cool. I saw the book. They were selling the book. Of all the different stuff, and so I got an idea of the kind of stuff that was in it, but I didn't get a chance to see it. But if I were to make a skateboarding museum, not just an exhibit, but a museum full of exhibits, I think I would do it by time frame. So I'd have a exhibit about the 1970s and the 80s, you know, and by decade. So I would have like pictures from the era, try to have stuff like that, like boards, have a bunch of decks up, you know, thrashers, or Trans World and stuff like that, you know, framed and talked about all that type of stuff. I think that would be cool. Another thing that would be cool would be an exhibit based on a photographer, and that would probably come and go through different times, but to just show like the photography and have a really big print here and there, and then some smaller ones and go through like that. That would be cool. And I've been to some photography exhibits in museums that are just terrible. There was one that it was gigantic, and it was like every picture this guy ever took, it seems like, because there was just junk in there. I think we could do a bit better, and skateboarding photography is really interesting, you know. What else do we have? Pro career highlights. So, you know, have an exhibit on Tony Hawk, and here's his first board, and here's, you know, all the stuff throughout the years. Here's big events in his life. Shoes, like how they have changed throughout the years. I think that would be cool. What you could sell would be a photography book, shirts, stuff like that, and then like smaller things, a skate tool, wax, maybe collectible, just like a deck. I wouldn't expect them to sell parts, but like you could buy a deck with the name of the place on it or something like that. I think that would be the type of things that I would put in the gift shop. So yeah, that would be cool. I can only see maybe in Los Angeles where that might work, but it would be really cool. The next question is, are there any mysteries or unanswered questions in the world of skateboarding that you'd like the answer to? For me, what's more interesting than answering specific questions is knowing the right questions to ask. Like, what tricks do we not know the correct inventor for? You know, like on vert, the ollie was supposedly invented by Alan Ollie Gelfand, right? But I've talked about it right here. That's probably not true. It seems like he took the credit for someone else's trick, someone who didn't really want the spotlight. And we don't know the exact details of all that. But what else don't we know? What was invented in Japan in 1984 that was just not on tape, and we don't know? For example, I was thinking of Masahiro Fuji, who came up when I was researching who invented the Casper flip. And he did a bunch of like crazy Casper flip stuff in 89, I think, which put him in contention for being close to the first. But what stuff was way before that we don't know about? What was invented in underground skate park, or like under a bridge somewhere in Brazil in 1968. Like we have no idea. And that's the type of stuff that I wish I could know. What trick do we all universally agree was invented by Tony Hawk that was invented somewhere else much before that? It's definitely possible. We just don't know, and there's never any way to know it because there's not tapes and film. If you go back far enough, you'd have to be recording the stuff on film, and that just didn't happen. So that's the kind of stuff I find the most, the things that I wish I could know. Next question is, if you were running for president and wanted to ensure you'd get the skater vote, what would be your campaign platform? I can think of a couple of different things. First would be health insurance. Most skaters, even pro skaters, don't have provided by their companies. They've got to buy insurance, and insurance is ridiculously expensive. I got insurance for next year, and it costs more than my house does, and it barely covers anything. It's terrible. So I would love to know that if I'm going to be out skating and I break my ankle, that I'm going to not be financially destroyed for it. That would be great. I think a lot of skaters would appreciate that. Second, insurance in the sense of when you're skating at a spot and they tell you, if you get hurt here, you can sue us, so we have to kick you out. I would like to do away with that. If I'm doing something dumb, like skateboarding down your stairs, and I get hurt, you can't be held responsible for that. And if that's the case, that would take away the excuse for getting kicked out of spots. So that would be pretty cool. But the big thing that I would do, the thing that I think would actually work, is take tax money and make a skate competition, not a contest, but a trick of the year type of thing. There's different submission categories: best trick of the year, best vert trick of the year, best creative trick of the year, all this type of stuff. And put some actual cash into it, and maybe do it by state, so you could theoretically, if there's 30 different categories and you live in a smaller state, you could theoretically win $10,000 because you did the most technical flip trick into a grind in all of Montana or something like that. I think that would be pretty cool. If your average skater could make some money by being good at skateboarding, I think they would like that. What is your biggest regret related to skateboarding? For me, it was always going for the trick and not ever practicing and getting good at the stuff that I could already do. For example, the toe flip. Here's a line that PJ Ladd did in Wonderful Horrible Life, where he does some different types of toe flips. I learned the standard one, just the normal one, and I immediately did it as a fakie big spin, which you can see how terrible that was. That was the only one I ever did. I never did that trick a second time. I never got good at it, and I never practiced it. Then the only other toe flip clip I have was in a line, and I don't think I ever got the third trick in this line. But the point is, they were so sketchy and terrible. I would land a trick once and be like, all right, next thing. I've got it normal, now I'll do it fakie, now I'll do it as a big spin, now I'll do it to crossfoot, now I'll do it in a line. And I would get it once, and then I'd move on to something harder, move on to something harder, move on to something harder. And I never spent the time to actually drill tricks and get good at them. And that's what I'm trying to do now. So go to the skate park fairly often with my friend. And, I got these 10 tricks, and I'm going to do them each time. And after I get them all, I can take time and do all the other stuff, but try to do these 10 tricks. Try to do a fakie nose grind, and then do a tray flip, and then do an impossible. And, just actually get good at that stuff instead of keep pushing it and trying to do harder and harder things. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that I did wrong in my skateboarding throughout the years. Last question. At any point in your life, have you ever considered quitting skateboarding, and what changed your mind? Being injured has gotten me there a lot of times. I have a lot of problems with my right knee, which my kneecap slips out of the groove, which doesn't feel very good. And so sometimes I'll just be standing there and my knee will kind of slip slightly, and it's it hurts a lot. And so I've gone to doctors and all this type of stuff, and I've learned what to do and what not to do, but it's something I constantly have to work on to keep it strong. And I've been out with that fairly often. I've been on crutches. I've been in a wheelchair too. When it got really bad. And so like obviously I couldn't skate during those times, and it was hard to pick it back up, especially the first time you go out and skate again. You haven't skated for like 4 months. I think probably more at those times. You haven't skated for like 8 months, and you do a kickflip and it's terrible, or like you're trying to do a shove it. I mean, okay, I could still do a shove it after that time, but like you're trying to do a nice kickflip, and you set up and your balance is a little bit off, and like trying to get back and knowing that you've lost all this stuff. I can barely do a kickflip right now, and I've got to relearn that, and then I got to relearn heel flips and varial flips and half cab flips, and then I'll get to 360 flips, and then I have this huge mountain up ahead of all this stuff I got to relearn to just get back to where I was. That is really difficult to get past. And so the last time I got really hurt after I was starting to come back from when I made my shred school, and that was kind of an excuse for me to go out and do all this stuff. I'm going to like relearn them for the sake of teaching them, and it was like a way to get myself to do the tricks again and like relearn them all. And so yeah, it's tough, to come back from being badly hurt and to try to relearn all that stuff. It sucks, but I just love skateboarding so much. Like it doesn't matter if I can currently skate, if I'm hurt or not. I'm still watching skateboarding clips all the time. I'm playing skateboarding games. Skateboarding is always a part of my life. And like, I can never completely drop it. If I am physically capable enough to push around and do an ollie, do a 50-50 on a curb, I'm going to do it. And if it gets so bad that I can only ride, I'm going to still ride. So that's just kind of how that has gone for me. But yeah, if you do have to quit and you can't, your life just gets to that point, or, you're so busy with kids and all this type of stuff where you get so badly hurt that you just can't do it again. I feel for you, I've been close to that. Haven't quite gotten there. But yeah, just to hang in there, no one's forcing you to skate. You can still be a fan of skateboarding. You still be around skateboarding, even if you can't get out there as much as you would like to. But that is it for now. If you have questions of your own, you can submit them at radratvideo.com. I'd like to thank those who have sent some questions, and I will see you next week.